All right, everybody, if I can have your attention, we will get started on our presentation for you. So what we're going to go over this afternoon, and thank you for still being here on a nice day, is how we have sought to engage the young lawyers and paralegals in KW. And what we'd like to do is leave it open for anybody to ask questions, make comments as we go through the presentation. You're not going to throw us off too much. I mean, if you saw our judges, you guys are nothing. So feel free to go to the mics at any point. So I'm going to let Pia tell you how this all got started.
Okay. First thing, I'm going to introduce myself. I'm Pia Williams. I'm the Executive Director of the Waterloo Region Law Association. And with me I have Jennifer Balduke, the President of the Waterloo Region Law Association. And one of the things I will tell you is throughout these slides, we have been privileged enough to get quotes from the attendees, both the courthouse staff and our new and young lawyers. So you'll see those throughout. And just, so occasionally I'll draw your attention to some of the quotes. But for instance, Jessica Rhodes, who's our manager of court operations for us, said this event has been invaluable in providing attendees with a comprehensive understanding of how the courthouse functions, along with the opportunity to meet and interact with and ask questions of the judiciary and court staff. So I'm going to start with a little bit of how it got started. Did I go back? Oh, okay. So how we all got started was, first I'll tell us about ourselves, sorry. We were founded in 1894, so we just celebrated 131 years as an association. We are an area library. We have over 635 members. We have both lawyer and paralegal membership. So throughout the presentation, we won't be saying lawyer and just referring to one. We use the term licensee at our association to be inclusive of both our lawyers and paralegals. We were the first law association to offer paralegal membership in 2011. And our board consists currently of 19 board members. So we have 19 lawyer positions and 1 paralegal position. And that paralegal position is a permanent position on our board. It cannot be filled by a lawyer. We hold about 8 annual large events a year, and we offer CPD programming as well as we're self-accrediting. So this all began because before COVID, our baby licensees had the opportunity to be at the courthouse. And you learn an awful lot from being at the courthouse, interacting with other licensees, as well as the courthouse staff and the judiciary. I know that a lot before COVID, the younger licensees would often sit in court all day waiting for their turn to address the court. And so there's a nice set of learning that happens along with that. And what we found with COVID was that learning kind of went by the wayside or wasn't available to them. So, and I'll let you talk about post-COVID.
Yeah. So what we decided on, so there was always a library orientation for the new licensees, but once COVID went through and there's not that motions court, they're not getting sent to go do things, we decided, based on an experience I had in Thunder Bay, where Justice Pierce brought us all, and there was like 8 of us as articling students there, so it wasn't a huge group, but they brought us into the courthouse or the courtroom. They put us on the dais so that we could see everything that they could see, hear everything they could hear, so we got that experience. And I wanted to be able to provide that to our young licensees, especially given that COVID took a lot from them in terms of experience. So That's where we decided to start doing the tour of the courthouse, where they could see the different departments. That's really how the first iteration began, was with that tour of the courthouse as well. And our presentation will be online, so you can see some of these quotes, but we have a lot of them from the people who have attended, which I think are the most telling quotes. And we've had, until we put the limit on the number of people who could attend, we actually had people attending multiple years to learn more and to ask more questions as they went through it. Okay. Go to this one. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So thankfully, Pia is wonderful and was able to liaise with the courthouse staff and with the judiciary to get this put together. Once we ended up expanding it a little bit more, what we did is we would start in one of our courtrooms. So we've got a few bigger courtrooms in the KW courthouse. And so we would take one of those, and the judges would give their greetings and give them not just the, I am the LAJ, this is my name, nice to meet you, but actually giving them their own tips. And it gave the young licensees the opportunity to observe these judges and to meet them, and so that they're not just some scary person on the dais when they got to meet with them. So that was one of the biggest things. What we ended up expanding into was we brought the Crown in, the manager of courthouse operations, her staff. We had CSOs explain what their role in the court was. Like anyone that they would see, we brought in for them to be introduced to so that they understood what the role of all of these people are. Originally, the welcome is done by the president, or supposedly. I just kind of did it before I was the president. And we had a request from some of the judges to speak about courtroom etiquette, professionalism, even things like how to robe. They asked us to get into. And so we gave examples of how do you walk into a live courtroom? How do you leave a live courtroom? If something comes up, what do you do? How do you address these sorts of things? And, from what Pia had said, these aren't people who got the opportunity that a lot of us did to sit in the courtrooms and observe motions court. Because observing motions court was more about learning from the mistakes of others than learning from the good examples of others. You look at that and go, I'm not going to do that. I don't want to be embarrassed like that guy. So that's how we all learned. So I typically am the one who ends up gowning up. A funny anecdote, I don't know if any of you have been in front of Justice Madsen before. She's now on the Court of Appeal. We had her for 5 years.
5 amazing years.
Yeah. We miss her.
Yeah.
So if she ever sees this presentation, we miss you. But she's a serious judge, and she comes off as a serious judge. And I was explaining to the students, okay, so you have, the waistcoat, you have the shirt, you have the robe that goes over it, your tabs. And so I had everything on, and I took off the gown, and all you hear is from the dais, Justice Madsen go, "She's naked!" It got the message through to the students and to the young licensees. Basically this is what, you can't do. You can't just show up in the waistcoat and expect, you to be considered to be properly robed. The last year, we decided we were going to do a mock motion. So we voluntold 2 of our board members, one of them who got to play the straight guy, and one of them who got to be the lawyer who had things to work on. And Gord was our, you'll see in the picture on the right-hand side at the door, Gord did an amazing job. Pia has actually a list from Justice Braid, I'll let her go through it, of some of her suggestions to have happened during this court appearance.
So here's a couple of her suggestions. Get someone to call you on your cell phone, answer it, and tell them that you can't talk because you're in court, which we did. Stand where the other counsel is standing, which he did. Make submissions while seated. Bring a briefcase and turn around during submissions to rummage in your briefcase, turning your back to the court without asking permission, and keep talking. When the judge speaks to you, say, "I dig that." Whisper loudly to opposing counsel without asking the court's permission for a moment to speak. Wear a blue suit jacket instead of your proper waistcoat under your robe. Slam a book down for emphasis when you get fired up during your submissions. There is a lesson in this about professionalism, but also about not getting emotionally invested in your client's case. Speak directly to opposing counsel during submissions, and talk about your opinions about the case.
He did an amazing job at all of those.
Yeah, it was Oscar worthy.
It really was. And that was one of the things we heard verbally from the young licensees afterwards, was how much they appreciated seeing that, because a lot of them aren't going to see it before they get sent to do it. And if they're doing stuff, a lot of times it's going to be on Zoom first. So they're not going to have that opportunity. This year, what we're planning on doing, so last year we did a civil motion. This year, what we're going to be doing is, in order to engage more of the young lawyers in criminal law, we're actually going to have it be some sort of a criminal-focused appearance. I'm delegating that out so that they can figure it out. But we'll have somebody draft up, the script and things like that for people to go over. Last year, we had somebody prepared to act as the judge of, overseeing the motion. And it turned out Justice Braid had the time and was having so much of a fun time with the students. She actually decided to stick around and officiated the motion, and it was amazing again for all of the students to see all of that. And, we had the CSO, we had the court reporter, so they get to see how we address all of those things, even just how to introduce yourself to the court. Like, it's all the things you don't necessarily think about were the things that we went through.
One of the other things,
How many attendees did you say you guys had?
We ended up capping it at 40.
yeah, our first year, we had way too many, and so the tour gets congested. So we capped it, and it fills up very quickly now.
Is there criteria, like certain year and under, or just student, or?
Yeah, so it's 5 years and under call, law students, so if you're a summer student, or a paralegal student, and articling students.
Sorry if you said that already.
Well, this is almost an all-day thing. So registration starts about noon. They start in the courtroom at about 1-ish, 1:15-ish, when the judges break for lunch.
We build around the judges' break for the first half.
And then the tour goes through the afternoon. They end up in the library. And then we have a social afterwards with lots of wine and food. So, yeah. So it's an all-day thing. Yeah.
Off the top of your head, do you know, are a lot of people joining your association for this and then sticking around, or are these people that are already a part of the membership?
I think it's a little bit of both. I know that's not a great answer, but it's definitely going to be something that we're going to keep an eye on. Pia and I were talking about looking at the metrics moving forward for some of these things. I mean, every year we've been making it better, bigger, learning from previous years. Things like don't give out the swag bag at the beginning. So you always learn from something from each time. So I'd like to think that as word of things is getting out, that will make more firms interested in having the membership for not only the principals, but also looking at having their students also have that. One of the things we've given to our membership committee is looking at, new call rates or student rates or anything like that. Like right now, articling students don't pay to be an articling member of our association, but we want to look at, having things like, the OBA has a special rate, the Advocate Society has a special rate. That's one of the things we're going to look at.
So off the top of your head, is this having a little uptick or any kind of uptick in that level of membership?
Yes, we have had people come back and say that they're taking up membership because they feel so supported with our association as a new lawyer or a new paralegal, and so they've decided to take up membership because of the support they received through this program.
Yeah, Pia's going to get into the tour part of it, and you'll see another element of why they find the tour or the program to be so valuable. But
I wanted to say, we do something similar at the TLA. We've been doing it for a long time. And our membership for articling students at first year call is free. And so we say for our courthouse orientation, you have to be a member. But it doesn't cost them anything. They do stay. So,
how many, sorry, I don't usually ask questions as the presenter, but how many people do you allow for your tour?
Last year, we had 150 people register.
Okay.
There's a lot more people in Toronto. We're doing it, like you,
Yeah.
every year we evolve it. So it'll be about the same number this year because the biggest courtroom at 361 holds 160 people. So that's our limit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm going to let Pia go over the tour, and then I'll butt in where necessary.
Okay. So one of the things I will say is when we reached out to our courthouse, the courthouse staff, so the manager of operations and the supervisors, they enthusiastically said yes, that they wanted to participate in this. And so we do a guided tour of the courthouse and library. The tour guides are board. We either ask for volunteers or we volunteer some of our board members.
Most of them actually volunteer.
Yes, they do. And so they act as tour guides. And there's always two per tour. There's one at the front of the tour and one at the back. So we learned that from the first year that you have to herd and you need one at the back. So we did that. Each tour group has no more than 10 participants in it. And that's because when you get into some of the areas, like the counter areas and that, to have too many is kind of, it gets squishy, and there's already members of the public in there or other people in there. So we want to be respectful of the courthouse staff's areas as well. So each tour group stops by our criminal counter, which is on our first floor, our civil and small claims counter, our family counter, our records room. And that's something we learned after our second year, how important the records room is. You would think as a librarian I would know, but really it's a great area to go visit and to learn about, because that's where you will find your cases if they are not reported, and they are here at, just like the Kitchener Courthouse. They go by the Crown's office and the judicial secretary. So they don't go up to the judges' chambers, but what they do is they meet them outside, and the judicial secretaries for both the OCJ and SCJ meet them. So one thing I will tell you is that we are a unified family court, so we have them both there. But the secretaries meet them and they talk a little bit about how they can assist them. And then we save the best for last, because we have them come to the library at the very end and do our tour and orientation.
So with each of these stops, it's not the tour guides telling the attendees what they do, what happens there. It's actually the staff will come out, and they have, over the last few years, they've actually created their script, like what they want to go over, the questions that they get. Like a lot of times now they're preempting a lot of the questions that they would normally get because they've learned from it. And it, again, just like with the judges where it kind of humanizes the judges, it also allows them to get to know some of these counter staff or, the supervisors or things like that, that they would normally, you could send somebody to go talk to somebody and they're like, oh, but who, what, I don't want to interrupt, or it just makes it easier for them going through it. And it also helps the staff because that's their opportunity to try to get in front of bad habits before they start occurring. So I think that's probably one of the biggest reasons that court staff are so enthusiastic about participation. Yeah.
Want me to talk about this?
Go for it.
Okay. So what's worked well for us is we've had strong attendance. Our members are very enthusiastic about it, so we're already getting, I'm already having members contact me and say, so when is this tour? I'm having an articling student start. When is this tour? So now it's, because it's been an annual thing, our members are now looking forward to it and they sign up their students for it. We have had just amazing support from the judiciary and the courthouse staff, our association, and the legal community at large. We've had repeat participation, which has been great, and it provides networking and relationship building opportunities. Because we have large firms in Waterloo Region, but most of our students work by themselves with another practitioner. And so there's not as much chance to meet. So this offers the students a chance to meet each other, to talk to each other, to commiserate with each other. We have other events too where we offer those same things, but this is another one of those. It's a hands-on tour, so you get to see the counters and the Crown's office and the records management. And then the mock motion or trial, whichever we decide to do, is it's practical, engaging, and people still talk about it. They still talk about Gord's performance. And that was one thing, somebody came in last week and said, so will Gord be doing another performance this year? But the nice thing is about that is when it's fun and interactive, you tend to retain the information a little bit longer. So I don't know, Jen, if you have anything you want to add to that?
No, I think if you were to look at the quote that Melanie has here, she says, in the Crown's office, we don't often get the chance to interact with lawyers who practice in civil or family. And it's always eye-opening to learn things beyond my daily work. Most of all, it's a fun experience. So it's not just the students who get something out of it, it's also the people who are volunteering. I was a tour guide every year but last year. And each year I'd still learn something as I was going around. And it's really nice to have that refresher, to have somebody be like, oh yeah, you just do this. And it's like, okay. So yeah, that's been a lot of the great things that we've had.
So on this page, you'll just see some quotes from some of our young licensees who have participated in this program.
And the quotes you see are actually, you have one person from a small firm, one person from a fairly large firm, and I'm not sure this is the middle quote or not.
NCA student,
Yeah.
He's,
Yeah.
he's
So
middle firm.
we've talked about all the wonderful things. Originally, I think this slide was titled, things we did wrong, but we have reframed it to our lessons learned and evolving the program. So one thing that you've heard both Pia and I mentioned was, we had to learn to limit the attendance just because we ended up with like trails of people through the courthouse. And we've got one of the newer courthouses, so we've got a fair bit of room. But when you have, 15, 20 people in a group, it's really hard for them to find their way around the courthouse. plus even just hearing people in the rooms became difficult. And it just got really crammed in some of the locations that we went to. Want to talk about the WhatsApp?
Sure. So one of the things that we found in the first, it also took us a second year to figure this out too, was
Third year
that
was okay.
there was a little bit, sometimes tours would get delayed because of questions at tour stops. And we had no method of communicating with each other, so they would be texting me and I'd be running all over the place trying to say, that people are behind. And while I love getting my steps in, we thought maybe that there was another way that maybe we could communicate. So for the actual day of the tour, we have designed a WhatsApp group. And it includes the courthouse staff where all the stops are going to be made at and all the tour guides. And so when people are falling behind, since there's 2 tour guides, they actually put in the WhatsApp app still at the criminal counter. We're about 2-3 minutes behind. So that those courthouse staff and the tours falling behind now know that they're a little bit behind, that we're coming up a little bit behind. So it kind of, that really helped last year when we did that. The other thing we found too is, again, in the 3rd year of doing this, not the 1st or 2nd, but to make sure that all the tour guides know where the stops are. Some of our board members who are tour guides
That were voluntold.
are are not always in the courthouse every day, or maybe have not been for a while because of COVID. So we make sure on the agenda that they know what rooms they're at, and then we'll also take them through the tour very quickly beforehand. And then we also added time for questions. That's the one thing we didn't realize the first year, that people might actually have questions when we stop at the different counters. But we got on that with the 2nd year and actually spaced it out a little bit. So,
Do you want to go over like a high-level overview of what you do in the library, the lounge, roping rooms?
sure, yeah. So when they come to us, we're lucky because we get about half an hour, 45 minutes with them. When
You pick the schedule.
Well, they're a captive audience. So, so they come and they stop in the library, and we send the tour guides and all the volunteers into the lounge to start with their wine and food at that time, and they're all very happy to go in and do that. And then we get the new licensees and the students for a little bit, where we talk about the services in the library, what we can do to assist them, what's available for them through the association. We talk a lot about what the association can offer them, and what the library can offer them as well. We also demonstrate things for them, right from the electronic databases to finding a book on the bookshelf, to using our catalog, to using the self-checkout that we have in the library as well, and who to contact for what, and that, we are always available there to help them whenever they need help with anything, so.
Yeah, even just getting their swipe card so they don't have to go through security all the time, explaining what the cubes are.
Cube booths, yeah.
Yeah, we've got two quiet booths in our library that people can, if they need to do phone calls or court appearances, they can go in there. So all of these things are things that they get. And then we have our summer social after. And we get as many members of the board and the bar out to meet these students. A lot of people use it as an opportunity to, see if some of these youngins have plans after their articling or student time. So it's a really good option and good time for everybody, really.
Mm-hmm.
So even though there was promised heckling, there hasn't been any yet. So we wanted to open it up to questions, to see if anybody has any questions for us. Do you have experiences that we haven't gone over that you think would be good for us? I'll open the floor up.
I have the most softball question ever. So I just think it's a really cool program that you guys have set up, and if other associations wanted to look to these slides as an example of how they might want to set up their own, can we email you guys and ask for a copy of the slides, or are they available somewhere else?
Of course.
I think the slides are actually on the FOLA website, but if you want to reach out to Pia, she can give you a copy of the agenda as well, and that will give you a breakdown of what the stops were, what we did when, things like that, because really that's the most difficult part, is figuring out, oh, you'll see it in the slides, is figuring out who goes where when is the toughest part of the whole program. So, the judges and all that kind of stuff isn't too bad. You.
Yeah, like what Logan said, this is really cool. Thank you for being so, like, really walking us through what you guys do. I think that it's amazing and it would be helpful even in our kind of smaller jurisdiction. I'm fit into the criteria just barely. I'm almost a 5-year call, so it was something, I was a COVID call, so it had been super helpful for me. One time I did a case conference in a closet with my client because I didn't realize that we were virtual. I could have solved that problem myself. Anyway, I digress. With respect to, I guess, reaching the younger groups, is it being advertised by being sent through your association, or are you calling up the big firms and saying, hey guys, what can, like, how does the actual kind of initiation go? And I'm also curious about swag bags, how you guys secure the goods.
I'll let you talk about the swag.
Okay.
And at this point, word of mouth has made it so that most of the time we're pretty much booked as soon as we open registration. But originally it was the Facebook, LinkedIn, the newsletter, things like that was how we got it out there. We do a pretty good job of that. We have experienced with, things like the Braiding Diversity program that we have in Kitchener, which if you ever want to hear about, I'm happy to talk about as well. And you wanted to talk about the swag?
Swag. So we're fortunate that all 4 of our major legal publishers are really interested in this program. So I usually reach out to them about now and just say, hey, we're doing it again. I've already had Lexus reach out to me and say, are you doing it again? So they want to get their swag in there. So we usually get swag from Emond, Thomson Reuters, VLEX, and Lexus. VLEX, the last couple of years, has also sponsored the alcohol for our summer social as well, just as another way for them to get out there, which has been fantastic. It's been a huge help for us.
Yep.
So, if any one of you are looking at putting this together, I'm happy to share contact information with the sponsors as well.
Yeah, and I'm happy from my perspective to chat as well. Just reach out. Pia knows my email address, and it's on websites and such things. One of the other things I have a feeling is probably going to expand with the swag bags is we've been getting into the law firm sponsorships now. We just had our Coulter Osborne, which is our awards dinner that goes after our AGM, and a lot of the law firms were interested in that. So I wouldn't be surprised if we start seeing more of the law firms want to get involved with sponsorship of the program, and they want to have swag as well going in to get their name out to some of these students as well. So I see you, but we still have
Joanne.
Okay, first question, accreditation. Do they get any accreditation for attending this mock thing in the courtroom?
No, not yet. I started it last year, and then we got busy with planning it. So we're self-accrediting, so we can accredit this. I'd be looking for assistance from the LSO with this because it's such a large program. So.
And it could be that maybe it's something that, and I'm thinking out loud at this point, but if that could potentially be something that FOLA, works with all the different law associations with. So I don't know if any of you have attended like the courthouse series with the Advocate Society. It could be something where we develop, the mock motions or their mock court appearances, and we have that database where, the different associations can reach out to say, oh, hey, can I borrow the materials for this year? And then we've got the accreditation already assigned to those materials. So you would know going in. Could be something that we look at.
So my second question, and this is just, I'm curious, how do you get permission to serve alcohol in the courthouse? Do you ask for permission or do you just do it?
Pia's amazing.
So that's a great question. We are considered tenants in our courthouse, and the manager of court operations, she's phenomenal. And provided that we have smart servers in there, we are able to have alcohol. So we actually we work with a company called Bella Vista Catering. They do bar service. And they come in with their Smart Serve license, with all their alcohol, with all the glasses, and they do the whole thing, and then they pack it all up.
Cracking open bottles of wine.
No. We made that mistake the one year.
My final thing is about the swag bags. One thing that we found very successful for people who don't want to do a big sponsorship, we offer them a pay-to-play opportunity to put stuff in our swag bag, and some law firms and vendors will use this as an opportunity to liquidate all of their old merch. They give us money and they get a spot in the bag, so the bags feel really good. You make a little bit of money on the side.
That's a great idea.
Yes. All right, you've been standing so long, I want to give you the chance to give us your question.
Thank you, and I need the mic for sure, so that's why I'm standing. Just to the point that was raised by the questioner just before Joanne, I know that some of us in smaller or more geographically dispersed locales who may not have the connections with our younger members that Waterloo does may find this challenging to launch. So I just wanted to do a quick plug for the presentation that Pia and Joanne did last year at FOLA regarding member engagement, because that was extremely helpful in terms of helping us here in Simcoe to build the relationships with the young lawyers that could make an event like this possible. So if you haven't seen that presentation, please check that out, and I'm sure Pia can send you the slides from that as well.
Yeah, thank you. I know how much Pia loves presenting, so I'm sure that was very nice to hear. So, yeah, I think we are happy to share our knowledge that we have through this program, and if we can help other people. I mean, we already heard the presentation about the graying of the bar, and it's been something, honestly, that I've heard about since I was a new call 15 years ago, and now I'm the one graying. So we've got to figure something out, because it's got to be some sort of perks of practicing outside of Toronto when they can't get Toronto money outside of Toronto. And if we can have the atmosphere, the collegiality, things like that, I think that's going to be the biggest thing for attracting and the retention of the younger lawyers. So you heard my alarm go off.
Michelle's got a question.
Sorry?
I was just gonna ask if you could foresee a way to run it, if you only had 5 to 10 people total, how
So-
you would scale it down?
So this thing, my original vision of this came from when I was in Thunder Bay and there was 8 of us. So, and again, that's where, this was pre-COVID. So, we had the opportunity to have motions court. So you'd have to figure out a way of building that in. But, maybe it's something where in terms of that, maybe we get permission to videotape something and then share that with associations, where you can still do the tour and the social side of things. And again, well, yeah, and I mean, this is probably going to require FOLA's help to do some of this, but, most of the Thunder Bay side of things in terms of getting into the courtroom with the judges, the social afterwards, like for us, we went up to the chambers and had drinks and snacks with the judges after ours. We can't really do that anymore, but that's what we did. So I don't think you're necessarily as limited necessarily. We just have to think outside the box on how to get certain elements to the smaller areas.
I think it's really possible, actually, and your experience with your judiciary, to me, that's pretty common right across the province. Is that the judges want to engage these younger lawyers. They want them to be able to represent their clients well and succeed in court. It makes their jobs easy when they don't have to constantly correct somebody, and then that person gets afraid of appearing in front of that judge, and then it's worse the next time. But
Yeah, we have a really proactive judiciary. So I'm a family lawyer. We've got the UFC, and our lead asked us to put together a list of mentors, like an unofficial list of mentors, so that if somebody is crashing and burning, they can be like, here's somebody that you can go phone a friend. And then we've also put together a mentorship committee and group, and that's just got off the ground. Maybe we'll get Pia to present on that next year. So, yeah, and does anybody else have questions? I know we're over time, and I'm sure everybody wants to get out and get ready for dinner and relax, so thank you for
Can I
coming.
just add that, no? Can I just add that this program's so well attended by our judiciary that this year we don't have enough room on the actual bench for all the judiciary that would like to participate in it. So we've had to say to them, like, the bench only sits 4, so if just 4 of you could attend, that's great. But it has grown, and they now, typically we start planning in January to get, it revolves around the dates of the judiciary, so when they have time, that's how we plan it. We give them a couple dates and they pick what they like. But this year it was January. I was in the second week of January, and I had a judge reach out and go, "So are you starting to plan this already?" Like, I've got.
Yep.
So they're really excited to be part of this, and they're a huge help with planning it as well. So.
Yep. So we are here if you want to pick our brains about any of that. I think we're both attending the dinner, and neither of us is planning on drinking, so we'll even be able to give you advice. So, yeah, please feel free. I will give you my drink ticket. Yeah. So does anybody else have questions or comments?
Just a big thank you.
All right.
Yeah, it's great.
It's a pleasure, and see you guys all tonight at dinner.